Well, thanks for clicking on to the Friday edition of Vogan's European Outlook. Lots of things going on, lots of very interesting things going on as well. So keep it right here on my YouTube channel. If you haven't already done so, be sure to subscribe because the models are suggesting some very interesting things, both in the relatively near term, as in the next week or so, but also in the next 3 to 4 weeks as well. So stay tuned. We will look at that in just a second here. Looking at the 2-meter temperature anomalies for Europe month to date, so this is up till today, Friday the 27th of October, approaching the end of the month, of course, and we are approaching the final month of meteorological autumn. Of course, the clocks change this upcoming Sunday morning at 2 a.m., so of course they fall back, and we are going to notice an even bigger difference in the nights, I think, once the clocks change. But you can see here quite a distinct contrast between much of Central Europe and Southern Europe, warmer than average. Even across the UK, we've got a contrast between average to even slightly below average across the Northwest Highlands versus warmer than average across the bulk of England, Wales, Northern Ireland, and the Republic of Ireland here. Look at Scandinavia, a chilly old month up here. For sure, and it'll be interesting to see how this month stacks up with regards to the overall statistics here. I think it'll be average, slightly above average in terms of the UK, generally speaking, but that average conditions across Scotland are marginally below average across the northwest versus the warmer than average southern Scotland, England, Wales may just tip the balance in terms of marginally above average. Be interesting to see with statistics regarding the rainfall here, because I did make a call about a week or so ago that I would be confident to say that this would be at least Scotland's wettest October on record. And there's actually parts of Scotland that's drier than average, so I may actually have to eat my words with that one slightly. I might end up being wrong. Maybe I was just getting carried away with the two extreme rainfall events that was seen both with Babette and then back at the weekend of the 6th and 7th. Maybe I was jumping the gun slightly. We'll wait and see what happens with regards to the overall statistics when they come through, probably later next week at some point here. The Arctic oscillation, take your pick. Is it going firmly positive or going firmly negative here at the moment? We are slightly negative. Looks as if the ensemble mean with the GFS takes it towards neutral, while the NAO is going from negative back towards neutral once again here. Now the what do you call it? The MJO is going from phase 1 back towards phase 8, so that is increased convection over the Far East Pacific. Of course, we've seen the devastation in Acapulco on the west coast of Mexico thanks to Hurricane Otis, and that was in part helped by the favourable phase of the Magellan oscillation over the East Pacific. We've also got it over Africa and over the western portion of the Indian Ocean at the moment here. And interesting enough here, this is a tweet by Met Forecast indicating for November, when you've got a positive ENSO or an El Nino in place and a phase 8 MJO, you tend to get this correlation, a very, very deep negative here extending over the North Atlantic and into the UK and Ireland here. And of course, we know based on the models, increased agreement with regards to the dump of Arctic air coming into the north. As you can see here, this is off the CFSV2 weeklies here. So this is the period that takes us between the 27th of October and the 3rd of November. Now, as of course we've got this big, strong, positive PNA or Pacific North America pattern, as we've got that ridge extending from the North Pacific up into Alaska, western portions of Canada, you then have somewhat of a cross-polar flow. So, of course, we've already alluded to the fact that we've had warming taking place over eastern Siberia. With this positive PNA, with the region then lifting northwards over the North Pacific, that then in turn helps transfer some of that cold over eastern Siberia across the top of the pole and down into the heart of North America. As that happens, you're driving Arctic air south, you're then seeing the contrast in temperature, the differential over eastern North America. That then triggers a strong extension of the North Atlantic jet stream off North America and out over the North Atlantic here. And then, of course, you've got a breeding ground over the North Atlantic with that jet, areas of low pressure moving from the southern side of the jet. That's a warm, humid environment, then crosses into the left exit region of the jet here, so it crosses over to the colder side of the jet. Then you increase baroclinicity, the rapid deepening of areas of low pressure, and that is exactly what the models are indicating as we go through later next week here. A lot still to be ironed out. We're a long way out. We're about a week away from the actual event, but I am increasingly concerned about a very lively open to the month of November in terms of storminess. And remember, what we've seen back in 2013-14, positive over the North Pacific up into Alaska, dumps of cold air driven into the United States. In turn, that increased the strength of the jet stream over the North Atlantic, and we had one area of low pressure after the other hammer the UK and Ireland here. Let's hope that we're not going to that stage, because, well, of course, we've seen a lot of rain in recent times. This is week 2 of the forecast. Now, interesting enough, it does have higher heights over the eastern half of the United States. We'll wait and see what happens. Notice the amount of blocking now starting to show up over the Arctic region, which is interesting. We can't dismiss the amount of blocking that we've seen in recent times, but if we cannot shut down that door to the west of the UK and Ireland, you could get a world of blocking to the north, but we end up, we still have this Atlantic-driven pattern. That looks as if that's going to be the case in at least the first half of November, that no matter what happens over the far northern latitudes here with regards to the height field, I think we're going to continue to see this jet extension from North America towards the UK and Ireland. That is a deep trough, folks. That's a very deep trough over the UK and Ireland for the period extending from the 3rd to the 10th of November. Let's have a look and see what the CFSV2 is indicating for week 3. But this is a pretty classic, El Nino MJO phase 8 and 1 type of upper Earth setup here taking place. So extremely interesting stuff going on at the moment here, but I'm going to show you in just a second a fly in the ointment, something that could really whet your appetite if it has any sort of merit. So stay tuned for that in just a second here, but we're going to continue to look at this pattern as it evolves later this week and into next week. So this is a global view looking at the jet stream. Let's have a quick look and see if we can blow this up just to make it a little bit more visible for you to see properly here, so you can see what's going on with regards to the jet stream. We've got, of course, the jet coming out of Asia, then we're seeing it ripping across the Atlantic. We've got an area of low pressure here just to the south of the Aleutians, but look at this here. We're seeing that build up of pressure and warm air ahead of this system to the south of the Aleutian Islands. That's drawing warm air up from the Hawaiian Islands up towards Alaska, up towards the northwest portion of Canada here. In turn, that's forcing cold air south. All the while, we've got the warming taking place over Siberia. That's probably given a little bit of a boost in terms of some cross-polar flow into the United States pattern here. Now, watch this space. There's the jet stream crossing over the Atlantic at the moment here through the course of late week and into the weekend. But watch what happens here as we move into the early portion of next week. What you've got is we've got cold air driving south down the plains of the United States. Then we're increasing the gradient between the Caribbean and the northern half of the United States. There's that strong jet stream starting to develop here, and it's crossing over the Atlantic. There's that neutral NAO signal with a relatively flat jet crossing from Newfoundland towards the UK and Ireland. But notice this little dip taking place near the UK and Ireland here. This is towards next Thursday. And that little dip and then higher pressure over Europe allows the air to start piling up here into that trough. We need to watch this space with regards to what may possibly come. But that is a very powerful 200 knot jet stream crossing over the Atlantic here. Yes, October can be stormy, but that is certainly Very, very impressive, strong jet stream winds separating very cold air to the north versus very warm air to the south here. Finally, let's have a look at the GFS and see what it's showing. So this is the overview chart here. This is the here now. So this is 1500 UTC this afternoon. Of course, we've got an area of low pressure. The main area of low pressure itself dictating our weather. Systems then developing on the southern flank of the system, riding up and into the UK and Ireland here. So we've got a very, very unsettled environment overall through the course of the weekend, with low pressure remaining the dominant player. Notice here the energy riding around the base of that low pressure system, then moving northwards up through the UK, bringing enhanced spells of shower activity, longer spells of rain, flooding rain potentially locally as well, strong gusty winds, and we also have cold air near the southern half of Scandinavia that's going to get drawn westwards across the northern side of the circulation of low pressure here. So it's going to turn colder across the northern half of the UK as we go through the course of the weekend. But that is a messy picture as we go forward here. Then we cast our eyes to the system here running across the Atlantic. Whether it crosses from south to north side of the jet remains to be seen, but we need to pay close attention to this developing situation here. A very active, very, very volatile situation here as we move towards the middle portion of the week. Look at how unsettled this is. Look at how active this is. And there we go. The GFS indicating an area of low pressure approaching the southwest tip of the British Isles here as a 955, 952 millibar area of low pressure. This is a true windstorm event that is seen by the GFS model here, and that certainly would cause widespread, severe, even storm force winds. So we need to really pay close attention to this, folks. I am getting a little bit nervous with regards to what the modelling is showing, but there is no surprise here given what we have seen so far, given the blocking that we've seen. And then, of course, if we get some blocking taking place and this thing slows down, we could have a real problem on our hands next week. I'm not hyping this, folks. I'm just showing you exactly what is on the table here. And certainly I would be inclined, if I haven't already done so, be sure to subscribe, because I'm going to be on top of this right the way through this weekend and into next week here. But look at the ECMWF. It's indicating a 949 millibar area of low pressure, slightly further north from the GFS's solution, more so over towards Ireland. But yeah, this is a loaded pattern. Very, very strong jet stream winds. We've got a very warm North Atlantic compared to average anyway, and there is a lot of volatility in the pattern. What kind of winds could this generate? Probably 90 mile an hour winds, even 100 mile an hour winds on coastal areas. Widespread 60, 70 mile per hour gusts with this type of situation here. Let's have a look at the ECMWF 10 millibar temperature profile here. So this is, of course, looking at the stratosphere, way up at the very top of the stratosphere actually, and this is the anomalies for the weeklies. So let's have a look and see what is shown here. So this is week 1, week 2, very interesting stuff, by the way. Week 3, week 4, week 5, week 6. That, folks, may be the indications anyway of a pretty significant warming over the Arctic, over the polar region, within the stratosphere towards the early portion of December. And this would certainly be a fly in the ointment, by the way. So that I've already explained to you, the El Nino, certainly on the sea surface temperature profile, based on that, we've got an east-based El Nino at the moment. The MEI, the multivariant Enso index, that reflects more the atmosphere as well as the Pacific Ocean temperature anomaly. That is more central Modoki-based El Nino here. So we've got conflicting signals at the moment here with regards to the Enso. But this here would certainly throw a fly in the ointment if this was to happen. This is just one model. Of course, there is multiple models to look at. It is looking at as if it is going to strengthen over the next week or two here. But certainly ECMWF, if it has any sort of validity, that could be something really worth paying attention later down the road. Stay tuned. Thanks for watching. Like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you again hopefully tomorrow with more. Bye for now.